Hey, Alan here with the Shift Church podcast. This is episode 2 coming at you. So on Sunday, we talked about adventure and how life and our faith is meant to be an adventure. And I used the illustration about a backpack and how 50% of success in any adventure is just simply showing up. It's you get your backpack on. So, because like here in Montana, here in Belgrade, we have so much outdoor adventure opportunity. We have lakes, and we've got rivers and hiking trails and backpacking trails and peaks you can climb to. Even in the wintertime, we've got snowshoeing and skiing and all sorts of adventure outdoors here in Belgrade, Montana. And so I wanted to talk about this showing up. Now, this showing up, we talk about 50% of the adventure showing up is just simply getting to the parking lot. We talk about how the parking lot is simply Sunday morning. It is showing up for the adventure. And it's not the full adventure itself, but it is a very vital part of the adventure, because it takes showing up to the adventure to actually succeed in accomplishing the adventure. Going on a hike to a peak, for instance. Say we're going on a backpacking trip. And so that's why I've been using this illustration of backpack, is that 50% of success is showing up. But what is that showing up? It's showing up ready. It's showing up prepared for the adventure. And so it's not just a physical preparation of packing your backpack and getting to the trail. It's as you're packing everything, you're mentally preparing for the adventure ahead. You know, one of my favorite scenes in a movie is from the movie Wild. And there's this scene where the character spreads out all of her backpacking stuff just like this. It's so funny because she's got all this stuff, and even more than this, piled up on her bed and on the floor and all over her motel room. And she's just looking at this going, oh my gosh, how in the world am I going to get all this stuff into this backpack? And how in the world am I going to be able to carry this for over 1,000 miles on this Pacific Crest Trail? And so she's got all this stuff there. She finally gets it all packed in the backpack, stuffed in there. She's unwrapping all this stuff and learning what each thing does. She's never done this before. And she's looking at each item and packing it in. And so for an hour, she's just like trying to sit there and she's trying to just stand up under the massive weight of this backpack. And it's just amazing how she is mentally preparing for this journey ahead, even though she has no idea about the journey ahead. She's got way too much stuff in her backpack, and even has the wrong gas. She found out later. And down the road, this older gentleman helps do this again. They sprawl out all of her stuff again, and they take out everything. It's like half the stuff that she's carrying she doesn't need, and gives her tips like, and as you're reading this book, tear out a page, use it to light your fire as kindling. And so it's just as we see all this stuff, and it's as we talk about preparation for the adventure, is that it's not just showing up to the parking lot that is the preparation work. It's knowing everything that's going into your backpack, going into the adventure, so that your adventure can be successful. Because if you didn't have your toilet paper and shovel, your adventure is not going to go well. If you don't have your bear spray, you're not going to be ready for that attack if it comes. If you don't have your Band-Aids and your first aid kit, if something happens, you're not going to be ready for it. If you don't have one of these items, it could ruin the adventure. It could not make it as effective and enjoyable as if you had it. So every item that you're putting into your backpack is part of that mental preparation. And so as we think about this, let's pack our backpack. So now we're ready for the adventure ahead. And now the next step is to go to the parking lot, is to drive ourselves to the trailhead and take a step of faith. Preparation is incredibly important in any adventure, whether it be backpacking into the woods or whether it's through relationships, authentic relationships, as we've been talking about here at Shift. Why? Well, because every time you make plans for an adventure, you have a destination in mind. Like, for instance, if you're going to go to the peak, you're going to go backpack to the peak. Right preparation can be the difference between an enjoyable, successful adventure and a failure and an unenjoyable adventure that doesn't inspire you to go on the next one. Like last year, it was a couple years ago, I went on a backpacking trip, and I was about a quarter mile in, and we started up that first hill, and I was like, oh no, I don't know about this, you guys, in my head. But I had people in front of me and behind me. I had someone there that hadn't been above 800 feet elevation all of his life, and now he was up here climbing to like 8,000 feet with us. And I had a guy that was in front of us that he was the one setting the pace, and he was leading us forward. And I had people, like I said, in front and behind me, inspiring me and encouraging me along. Here at Shift, we're preparing you for an adventure with others, because we believe that this adventure we call life and faith is done best, is done most effectively, and most importantly, most enjoyably together with others. Acts chapter 20, verse 24 says, "But I do not consider my life worth anything to myself, so that I may finish my task and the ministry that I have received from the Lord Jesus to testify to the good news of God's grace." We begin an adventure to accomplish something, and we set out on a journey to reach a destination. So here at Shift, our adventure is authentic, personal, spiritual transformation. Real personal spiritual transformation for you, for each one of us. And the journey, how we get there to that destination, is authentic community, is relationships. And so preparation is key for this adventure. And our preparation that we're talking about is our Big Circle gathering, our weekly Sunday morning gathering. This is where we get inspired and informed about the adventure ahead, about what God is doing in the life of our church and where He is leading each one of us and what this adventure is going to entail. Because the content of our ad groups, of our smaller circle, these mid-circle and smaller circle one-on-ones, the content to all of this is based in our Sunday morning Big Circle teaching. And so we encourage you to show up on Sunday mornings for that Big Circle gathering, so that when you do say yes to the adventure of authentic community, you are prepared. You are ready for the adventure of authentic community. So this week I would encourage you to make the time. Set aside that Sunday morning hour. Make time to come and be prepared for the adventure, to say yes to the adventure of authentic relationships. Pray you have a blessed week, and we'll see you Sunday.